When you wake up in the middle of the night thinking about your job, when you wake up at any given set time or moment and the only thing you can think about is your career, that's the place for you. And quite frankly, that's how I feel dancing with Dallas Black Dance Theater. I wake up every morning ready to go in and ready to do my best every day.
Good evening and welcome to Art After Dark, where you get to learn all about arts and culture in West Texas, and I get to live out my Dick Cavett fantasy. Good evening. My name is Randy Ham. I am so privileged to be the executive director for Odessa Arts. And tonight we are coming to you from the Ector Theatre as part of a three-part series celebrating 5 years of Dallas Black Dance Theater Encore performing here in Odessa as part of the Juneteenth celebrations. And joining me tonight is Marcus Johnson. Marcus, thank you so much for being here
No,
tonight.
no, 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 no. Thank you for having me here. It's such a pleasure. I'm telling you it is.
Well, as I mentioned before we started taping, the Dallas Black Dance Theater Encore performance is one of the highlights of my year. You know, we do a lot of things, but bringing the company in for the Juneteenth performance is always such a transformative event, and we are just so fortunate to have you here. So let's start with the basics here. How did you get into dance?
Um, I got into dance. I started dancing at probably 12, back home in Chicago, Illinois, at my church, New Life Covenant Southeast. I was very blessed and fortunate that they saw my gifts and my talent and that they wanted to invest in my dance career and my dance training. So they gave me a scholarship to be able to go out and to pursue dance outside of church. From there, I just bounced around training at studio to studio. And then I went on to pursue dance at college. I spent 4 years at the University of Missouri in Kansas City, and now I'm here.
This is your first
First season, yes.
season?
This is my
Wow.
first season with Dallas Black Dance Theater Encore, celebrating the 25th season. So it's a really big, monumentous
Yeah.
thing for us this year, especially for me personally.
Yeah, that's gotta be pretty exciting to come into the company on such a celebratory year and at a milestone like that. What has your season been like for you?
Rigorous. I the one thing that I can say that brought me the most pleasure
Mhm,
this season was just the full life circle moments that I had in my dance career.
mhm.
I was able to work with a lot of choreographers that trained me growing up, a lot of choreographers that had a lot of influence on my life and in my career. So being able to work with a lot of those choreographers this year really, really, really just filled my heart, and it gave me the passion to continue what I was doing. So that was like one of the most rigorous parts of it. The fun part about it is the community work and going out and having shows like this and going out of town and touring, and that's the best part about it too.
Well, since you haven't actually performed here yet, you can be forgiven and you don't have to say Odessa. What was your favorite place to perform this season?
I believe my favorite performance this year was Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at the International Association for Blacks in Dance conference back in January.
Oh, wow. That had to have been amazing. I've never been to Pittsburgh and it's on my bucket list. But, what was the conference like and performing there to that crowd? Because that's all kind of industry professionals.
So it personally, when you go in it with the mindset of you have nothing to prove but only to share, you're always going to get a good outcome. I always say that. So with going into that show, I really had to pull back because once again, this is my first season in the company. You never want to try to necessarily show off. You never want to do something that you've never done before in rehearsal. You want to just be straight, flat line, white paper to black letters, and that's what that show was for me. I got the most feedback from that show, and a lot of the feedback was positive. And once again, that's just something that really brought goodness to my heart, and
So, nothing to prove, only to share.
nothing to prove but only to share.
I am stealing that. That is brilliant. I'm gonna have it on T-shirts, I'm gonna put it on a coffee mug. That is a great way to kind of talk about how you, present your talent to the world. Uh and make it not about competition, but about lifting up everybody
Mhm.
and setting an example with your own performance and hoping somebody does even better than you do, hoping for other people to succeed. I always say, more art is better than less art. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter who does the art as long as we have it to enrich our lives. We should be championing everybody.
Yeah,
So,
and that's true.
yeah. Have you have you done any choreography of your own? Have you ever thought about putting, a show together of your own?
As of right now, not really. But if it's one thing that I can say that Dallas Black Dance Theater does, Dallas Black Dance Theater does open up the space and gives the opportunity for not only for outside choreographers to come in, but inside choreographers to emerge as well. Each year we have a show entitled Black on Black that's dedicated just for dancers inside of the companies to be able to choreograph pieces on each other. So, there's
Oh,
room,
wow.
there's space, there's opportunity. But is that something I've kind of thought about? Yes, but is that something I'm gonna explore? Maybe. But does Dallas Black give the opportunity for us to succeed and create our own works inside of the company? Yeah, they do.
Well, it's readily apparent because every time the company comes here to perform, the performances always outpace the previous years. It always improves. It's always better, and that is a combination of the new company members as well as the seasoned professionals and the way that they lift each other up and support them. And I think part of that is being in a space that allows you to improve and grow, and also to help contribute to the growth of the other dancers.
Mhm.
So you're performing here for the first time. You're a Texas transplant, right?
I am a Texas transplant. I'm born and raised right on the west side of Chicago. Shout out to the 60612. But yeah, I only moved to Dallas for my dance career.
Oh, wow. So how have you found Dallas?
I found Dallas to be more of a fast-paced city like Chicago as well. Dallas is one of those cities that kind of doesn't sleep like Chicago,
Yeah.
like New York, like Houston. And I'm slowly but surely starting to become accustomed to what I call the city country life,
Yeah.
meaning that you have people. Dallas is more of a diverse city than what I thought it was.
Hmm.
You have so many people from different parts of Texas, but not only different parts of Texas, but different parts of the states as well. A lot of we only have one person in our company that's from Dallas, so that just proves to
Really?
show, yeah, that just
Wow.
proves to show like how people migrate to Dallas at such vast and fast rates. But personally, I'm starting to love Dallas. Dallas is really starting to grow on me.
Well, good. Texas is quite the diverse state, contrary to popular belief. We have so many people that migrate to Texas from all over the world, really, and it's such a huge state geographically that we just have these concentrations of this urban excitement, and then you have West Texas, which is uh, I like to say beautifully flat, and but we are able to get where we need to go and bring people like, the Dallas Black Dance Theater here from Dallas to the Permian Basin and offer something that we normally wouldn't have here, and so I'm just always so thrilled to see the company here, 5 years. I just cannot believe that. Uh, do you have a favorite piece that you'll be performing tomorrow night?
So my favorite piece, I think my favorite piece of the night will be Church and Nation. Um,
Okay.
Simply because I personally have a deep rooted connection, a very deep rooted connection with that piece. The choreographer of that piece, Kevin Ikachev, was a personal mentor of mine. He taught me dance back home in Chicago. He owns another dance company in Chicago, deeply rooted
Yeah.
dance theater.
Oh, wow.
And so being able to have, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, one of those full life circle dance moments. Every time I perform that piece, it reminds me of why little Marcus started dancing. And watching the company of Deeply Rooted do that piece and me being able to sit in that chair and do that piece today, that's what makes it.
What do you think 10-year-old Marcus would say if he knew where you are today?
Hmm. I just feel like more so he will be shocked that he's here. I feel like for a very long time. that I played into, because realistically and truthfully, I started dance a little bit later in the game.
Mhm.
A lot of people start training at ages 5,
Sure.
6. I started at 12. So,
Okay.
for me personally, just knowing at that age that I will have a successful career, and which I am having right now, he will be happy.
Mhm.
It makes me happy. It makes my family happy. I love that every single show that I have, I know that I have family supporting, whether they're on the live stream, whether they're sitting in the audience. That that's just what I love about it.
Well, it just reminds us again how fortunate we are to be able to work in the arts.
Mhm.
Lots of people will say, "Oh, I would love to be able to dance, or I would love to be able to sing, or do whatever." And um, you know, even though 12 doesn't sound late to an ordinary person, it is kind of late for a dancer to start. But that makes I'm always fascinated by people that get a late start in their careers, especially in the arts, um, because we are, as a society, we're kind of hardwired
Mhm.
to supposed to know what you're going to do from a very, very early age. And I was the same way. I didn't fall into and I literally fell into this job when I was in my 40s. And instead of being mad that I wasted 10 years trying to find this, I wake up every day being happy that I found it in the first place, and that it made me, this is the best job I've ever had in my life.
And this is why I love the arts. Speaking to that, I tell people all the time, and it's not just specifically for the arts, but it's for any career field that a person is passionate about. When you wake up every morning and you want to do your job,
Yeah.
when you wake up in the middle of the night thinking about your job, when you wake up at any given set time or moment and the only thing you can think about is your career, that's the place for you. And quite frankly, that's how I feel dancing with Dallas Black Dance Theater. I wake up every morning ready to go in and ready to do my best every day. And every day is not always promised.
No,
And
it's
that's
not.
why I tell everybody today, go out there and follow your passion, follow your
Mhm.
dreams. If you want to be a dancer, if you want to be a singer, if you want to be an artist, if you want to be a beautician, if you want to be a podcaster, go out there, start. It's somewhere where you can start, whether it's the bottom or the top. Work your way from the bottom to the top.
That's right. You can do it at any age and at any
Mhm,
skill level because you can teach yourself the things that you don't know, or you can figure out a way, especially with information being so readily accessible.
mhm,
If there's a way, and I always say my worst day at this job is better than my best day at anything else I've ever done in my life.
mhm,
And it's important to remember that because there are bad days, just like every other job, you will have bad days,
mhm.
but they are still better because you're doing what you're passionate about. And it's so important to be able to do that.
And I also think about it like this as well. And this is something that Nicole says to us too. It's about the art of recovery. You had a bad day, but what are you going to do to recover from that bad day to make the next one even better?
Oh,
It's
Nicole,
all
she is,
it's
man,
it's about the art of recovery
it
sometimes.
is, it
And so let
is.
me ask you this, right?
Okay.
So let's flip the
All
roles.
right,
Let's flip
all
the
right,
roles.
all right. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's flip the roles. So as somebody who's been the director for about 5 years, correct? I heard you say five.
I've actually been in this job for 11 years now. Yeah, 11 years. Yeah.
What's one part about your job that makes you just wanna wake up every day and come do your job?
It is there are two things that I've been thinking about a lot recently. And one of them is kind of this thing right here. It's being able to bring Dallas Black Dance Theater here and have you perform for my community. Being able to offer something to them because I'm not a dancer but I can put the right artists in front of the right audiences. And so I love to be able to do that. We also produce a Shakespeare festival in the fall that's for students, and I love seeing the students come in and do that kind of thing. But something that I've noticed over the last 5 years that I've been really proud of is that when I first started doing this, I felt like anybody that was doing anything artistic needed to contact me,
Mm,
and so that I could help them, and that's that's good, and I was able to do that, but our cultural community has grown to the point where people feel like they have their own agency and they can do it for themselves and they don't need my help. And that's even better.
Mhm.
To see somebody go out and do something and not need me, and because they have the tools, the resources, and they feel empowered to do it on their own. And that is something that gets me excited in the morning because I get up and I'll check our feed or whatever, and I see somebody's doing a pop-up art show somewhere. I'm so thrilled. And I don't even have to go, and I don't even have
Mhm.
to be there. They get to do it on their own, and I feel a little bit of responsibility for that.
And so I personally want to thank you for being a cultivator of art because in my eyes, that's what I call it, a cultivator of art, somebody who brings the art together, somebody who isn't afraid to get out there in the community, who necessarily might not be a part of the community,
Yeah.
but knows how to bring the people together. And people like you are the people who inspire us and who put things together like this so that we can go out and reach a large marginalized audience. So thank you for that and thank you for your passion.
Well, thank you very much. I really enjoy this. I joke that no kid ever says, "I want to be an arts administrator when I grow up." Right? You don't know about that, and most people that are going to come here and see the show don't understand what it takes to put something like this on.
Mhm.
But for me, to be able to work with the other administrators and work with the venues and put all of these things together is its own art form, and it's something that I feel very proud of that I do that does not require a spotlight. Yeah, it's really great. Um, are there any performances or dance pieces that you have not done yet that you're just itching to do? Something specific or a place that you've always wanted to perform that you've never performed?
Um, for me, it's kind of general. Um, My next step, after dancing here in the States is that I wanna dance abroad.
Yeah,
Being able to leave the States, and study other cultures and other styles of dance inside of other different cultures, is something that's on my bucket list as well. So, after I get done, having a successful company life, like, I would like to have another company life outside of the
yeah,
United States.
yeah. That would be amazing to travel the world and be able to perform on some of these, hallowed stages
Mhm.
in all of the, well, let's say 6 of the 7 continents. I don't think you want to perform in Antarctica, but maybe. You never
Maybe.
know.
You
You
never
never know.
know.
Do a commissioned installation piece where you're dancing among the snow.
The grant money would be awesome.
The grant money would be phenomenal. All right, I'm gonna write you a grant so you can dance in Antarctica, and I'm just gonna go just to sit there and watch it just because 'cause I've always wanted to go to Antarctica, so it's a win-win for
It's a win-win
everybody.
for everybody.
Yeah, that would be really great. Um,
So let me ask you this, and this will be my last question for real.
no, no, go ahead.
What is like one of your dream installations? Like if you didn't have a budget, if you had whatever dance company, whatever artist, whatever singer, whatever poet you want, what type of event would you put on? What is your heart saying right now that you feel the people would want?
Well, it's not necessarily an installation, because I've been very fortunate that 98% of the things that I've wanted to do, I've been able to do. And I realize not everybody gets to say that, and so
Mhm.
that's another reason I wake up so, happy in the morning 'cause, I like to say, if I can figure out a way to pay for it and a way to staff it, I can do it. I have a very supportive community, I have a very supportive board of directors, and if it benefits the community and it's something we don't have here that we need, we'll find a way to do it. But the one thing that we don't have that I've been kind of percolating on for a few years is we don't actually have like a cultural arts center. We have beautiful venues like this, and we have, museums, and we have, the infrastructure there. But what we don't have, and this is so true of so many communities, is that it tends to be focused on the areas of our community that already have money, right?
Mhm.
And so there is not ready access to the arts for some of the lower socioeconomic people here in West Texas. And we have great prosperity here. We have phenomenal prosperity, but the gap between the haves and the have-nots is huge.
Mhm.
And there are people that will never travel outside of West Texas their entire life. They will not do it. They don't have the means. And so, to me, being able to bring art here for them to experience might give them a broader view of what the world is like than just West Texas. And that's true of the dance, it's true of the visual artists. So, what I really want to do is find a way to have that cultural arts hub that gives access to art to people that don't normally have it. And so that is the thing. If I had a goal for the next 10 years, that's what it would be.
Well, we're speaking into existence right now.
We absolutely
10
are.
years from now, Odessa, Midland, your cultural center is coming soon. Just you wait and see.
You're gonna be at the ribbon cutting, I guarantee it.
Well, let me know. The connection is here. The connection has been made. Whenever you want me and Encore back, we're back.
Encore has an open invitation to be here any
Every.
day of the week. It doesn't even have to be just once a year. Marcus, thank you so much for taking the time
Oh,
to do
thank
this.
you.
This has
Thank you.
been really enjoyable, and I cannot wait to see the performance tomorrow night. It really is just such a blast to have you and the company here. So thank you so much.
No, thank you again. I just want to thank all of you guys for having us. And I know this is going to be an amazing, jam packed filled weekend. And I can't wait for every moment.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you all for tuning in. Join us next week when we will continue our focus on Dallas Black Dance Theater Encore. Until then, have a good night.